Hello student, welcome to my class once again. Today here I shall start a new chapter. It is chapter number 19 and the name of the chapter it is water. Water and elixir of life. Now in this chapter we will study about the hydrosphere, means the water bodies, lithosphere, the land area, and we will come to know the hydrosphere, its importance and the various forms and the uses and the hydrospheres or the different water bodies across the world which are not in usable form. Now our earth is a very beautiful and about 71% of its surface is covered with water and rest 29% land area. Now the sea, ocean or the other large water bodies or the majority of the water available in the ocean and the seas are salty in taste, and this water are not fit for human consumption or human use. We cannot drink the same, and that is why this ocean water it is called as saline water. This water, its taste it is salty, and because the huge amount of dissolved salt and the minerals are there, and how all these salt and the mineral comes in the water, because all the river system across the world, so all the rivers they discharge their waters in the main water bodies and mainly the sea and the oceans. So because of this, the water which comes through the rivers and the different tributaries, so while water in the motion, so take the salt and the minerals from the surface area, and while discharging the same also get dissolved in the main water bodies, and because of this, so the large water bodies, sea or the ocean, have this salty water. Now if the majority of the water available in the ocean and the sea is not fit for human consumption, then how do we get water for consumption? So mainly the river and the lakes and the underground water are the main source of fresh water, and majority of the lakes in the world are fresh water, but there are many other reservoirs of the saline water. Now example here it is can be cited, it is that the Dead Sea, it is located in the hot tropical region where the rate of evaporation it is very high, and the Dead Sea, the maximum salinity of the water it is 240 degree. So this is the extreme salinity of this Dead Sea water, and which make it impossible for the living being to survive, and that is why it is also known as the Dead Sea. And because of the maximum salinity of the water, and there no life exists in the Dead Sea. Now the main oceans of the world, we will see the 5 main oceans are there: Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean and the Arctic Ocean, and last one it is the Southern Ocean. while discussing the different oceans. So we will see the location and the different countries. Pacific Ocean, it is the largest and also the deepest, and it covers 1/3 of the total land area on the earth. The area covered by the Pacific Ocean is far larger than the entire area covered by the covered by all the continents put together. So the Pacific Ocean, the 7 continents are there: Asia, Europe, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, and Oceania, also called Australia. If all the 7 continents put together or joined all these together, so then it is also the Pacific Ocean is larger than the 7 continents together. In the Pacific Ocean, Mariana Trench it is there, which is deepest trench in the world, and it is 11,022 meter depth. It means 11 kilometer. Now the location, the Pacific Ocean, it is located or surrounded by the continent of the North America, South America in one side, and Australia and the Asia on other side. So this is Pacific Ocean location, and the total area largest in the world, and 1/3 of the total area covered by this Pacific Ocean. Next it is the Atlantic Ocean. All these water body or all these oceans from very or the time immemorial or the from ancient period also until today, all these water bodies are used for transportation of the goods or the movement of the passenger or the other essentials. Now Atlantic Ocean, it is the second largest ocean of the world. It is located between North America and the South America on one side, and the Africa and Europe on the other. Now there are a number of natural harbors. It is a place where the ship stays or the cooling station of the ships on Atlantic coast. Atlantic Ocean, it is one of the most busy waterway and plays a very important role in the promoting trade and the commerce, I said. So all these oceans from the ancient time also, nowadays it is because of this invention of the machines or the steam engines. So ships are moving easily without depending on the nature or the current of the water bodies or the oceans. Earlier in ancient period, so people used to sail their ship or the large boat according to the season or the movement of the wind. Next it is Indian Ocean, and it is only the ocean in the world which is named after a country, and the Indian Ocean is surrounded by the land masses on the 3 sides. The continent of Asia lie to its north, Africa to its west, and Australia lie to its eastern side. Since ancient time, India had been the center of trade and commerce and the flourishing trade contact with many of the western and the eastern countries. Next, the Arctic Ocean, it is the smallest of all the oceans located within the Arctic Circle, and the North Pole lie at its center. The narrow stretch of the water body named the Bering Strait link with the Atlantic Ocean, the Arctic Ocean, it is connected with the Atlantic Ocean from the southern side. The northern coastline of the North America and Eurasia form the southern boundary of the Arctic Ocean. In fact, Asia and Europe are together called as Eurasia. So this is location and the size of these Arctic Oceans. Here you have to remember what lies in the north, south, east, west and all this. Now next it is the southern, so in the southern hemisphere the Atlantic, Pacific and the Indian Ocean merge together, which form the vast and the continuous stretch of the oceanic surrounding called as the Antarctica, and it is continent, and this vast stretch of the ocean it is called as the Southern Ocean. So when in the southern hemisphere, when this Atlantic, Pacific and the Indian Ocean merge together form the Atlantic and Antarctica, and this vast stretch of the ocean it is called as the Southern Ocean. Now next we will see the importance of the ocean. First, oceans are huge reservoir of the valuable resources. We get fossil fuel in the Indian Ocean also. So we get fossil fuel, seafood, salt, mineral, etc. from the ocean. So all these things we get from these oceans. So under the water, in the large water bodies, the oceans, so number of natural resources are there, or huge quantities of the natural resources are there. So the explorer trying to explore all these resources. Ocean provide cheap and the convenient means of transportation for transporting bulky materials. Now the oils or the minerals or diesel, petrol what we use and India import from other foreign countries, mainly from the Gulf countries, so all these are transported through the waterways, and these heavy goods or the liquids are easily transported through these waterways. Ocean waves and the currents are also used for producing hydroelectricity, and the same is doing by number of countries. Movements in the ocean, we will see now the oceanic waves, the oceanic tide and the currents, oceanic current. Now oceanic waves, what are the oceanic waves? So oceanic waves are the up and down movement of the oceanic water on the surface of the ocean. The surface of the ocean, it is all time equal and the same, and the land area, is not plain as like the surface of the water. The plain land areas have this ruggedness or not plain everywhere, and the surface of the water bodies, because of its equality or surface area, it is equal. So that is why, so taking altitude or height of this mountain and all these are takes from the sea level. Now this oceanic waves are up and down movement of the oceanic water, up and down movement of the oceanic water like this. Now number of factors are responsible for this up and down movement of the oceanic water. Now pushing action of the wind blowing over the ocean is primarily responsible for the waves. Now why this happens? Now due to the push of the wind, the water particle move up and the down. So when the water pushes, now the motion is passed from one particle to another, and the waves create. Now in the ocean, the water tides, water rise and falls in the form of wave, and the raised part of the wave, it is called as crest. This is raised. Now when the water raised, so this portion it is called as crest, and bottom was, and the lower part it is called as trough. Clear? So this is all about the wave, and this wave, how all this creates, and what are the main causes which are responsible for this creation of this wave, or origin, or originating of the wave, that we will see. Now we know that the wind moves from the high pressure area to the low pressure area, and above the water when the high pressure creates, and wind start moving from the high pressure areas to the low pressure area to fill up this vacuum. And where high pressure is created, where temperature it is very less, so pressure is, where temperature is maximum, pressure is very less, and where temperature is very minimum and pressure is very less. So now from the high pressure to low pressure area, when the wind moves, and when the velocity of the wind will be maximum, then the wave will also be very large. Clear? So this is the main reason. And sometime when this high velocity wind blow, sometime it is because of this high velocity, the stormy wind may create and cause heavy damage, mainly in the coastal area, and sometime also we call is all these cyclone, and cyclones are cause of these high or a very high waves in the ocean or the seas. Now next, oceanic tides. So this is all about the oceanic waves and how all this creates and the consequences of these the oceanic waves. So if the wind velocity is maximum or too high, then the very large waves will originate and will create, and as a result, so sometime the natural disaster also takes place, and as a result mainly the coastal area people, those who are living in the coastal area, they suffers a lot. Sorry. Next, it is the oceanic tide. In the sea and the ocean, the water rise and fall 2 times in a day, and that too at a regular interval. Now the alternate rise and fall of this sea water known as the tide. Now why this is happening? So it is happening because the pull action of the sun and the moon, and mainly moon is responsible for the tides. Sun also exert the pull on the surface of the earth, and as a result the tide originates. Now because of the closer to the earth, the pulling action of the moon is mainly responsible for the tide. Now when the level of the sea or the ocean water it is highest, it is called as the high tide, and when the level is lowest it is called as the low tide. Sometimes tides are of very higher magnitude than the normal, and such tides are called as the spring tides. The sun, the moon and the earth all come in the same line or the full moon day. When all these come in the same line, the sun, moon and the earth, the tides become very stronger. In another case, when tides become very stronger, when sun, moon and the earth all come in the same line, so tides become very stronger. And in another case, when the sun, moon and the earth form three corners of a triangle and force the attraction of the sun, moon neutralizes each other. So in a triangle form, you are much acquainted with this shape. So sun, moon and the earth. So when like this they form like a triangle, so all these neutralizes each other. All these three, they neutralizes the force each other, and that is why this phenomena is felt fast in the third quarter of the moon, and during this time tides are weaker, and such tides are called as nip tide. Nip tide. I repeat, nip tide. Now, so what we found that in the two cases, when the sun, moon and the earth, when all these come in the same line on full moon day and the new moon day, tides become very stronger, and when all these three form in a very triangular way, so the forces neutralizes by all these three, and as a result very weaker tides are forms, and such tides are called as nip tides. Now we will see the importance of these tides. Now first one is the navigation of the ship. Tides are very helpful in navigation of the ship, moving or navigating the ship. The big ship enter many of the ports across the world during the time of high tides, and during the high tide the depth of the sea near the coastal area increases. So what is tide? Tide, it is the rise and fall of the water twice in a day. So when the water level increases, like this increases, so in the coastal area, so the depthness of the coastal area, it is not too high, and that is why sometimes the ship, okay, so the ship face lots of problem while taking station there, mainly in the port. So as a result, what happens? So when the water level increases or when the tide takes place, so it becomes very easy to enter this port easily, or the means harbor or the ship cooling station. Now example here can be cited the Kandala port in Gujarat and the Diamond Harbour in the West Bengal. Take advantage of the tides, and because of this, tides make the river navigable. Navigable means the easy movement of the ship. If the water level do not increase, then ship will, or the bottom of the ship will struck in the land, and as a result will not move. So if the water level increases, then what will happen? So ship easily can move. Next, it is the desilting of the harbor. Here we are discussing the importance of the tides. Now tides routinely remove the mud brought by the river from the harbor. So when the water level increases, tide means the rise and fall of the water level. So when the water level increases, so it clean all these things. Now next, electricity generation. So like this in the oceanic waves, so here in the tides also, in case of these oceanic tides, so electricity can be easily generated, and the important for the fishermen. So the fishermen also get benefit out of the tide, and how? So they sail to the sea and easily return to the harbor during the tides. So easily rising, so at the time of this water rising, so easily they go and again come back to the harbor or the port very easily. Now next is the oceanic currents. Now it refers to the large scale movement of the water in the ocean in a very definite direction. And this oceanic currents are also very useful and helpful, and the oceanic current are more like the rivers in the ocean, thousands of kilometer length and the many hundreds of kilometer wide. Now the different types of this oceanic current we will see. First one, it is the warm current. Warm current, it is originate near the equator and blow towards the poles. Now in the equatorial region, this is equator, 0 degree. These are polar region, North Pole, South Pole. So from the equator to the poles, so in these areas, so the water bodies which falls in this area, so the oceanic current move towards the polar region, North Pole or South Pole. And such movement of the oceanic currents when moves from equatorial region to the poles, it is called as the warm current. Next, it is the cold current, and it originates in the high latitude and flow towards the equator, high latitude. So like this towards the equator when it moves. Now the two different types of the oceanic current that just now we have discussed, and what are the main causes regarding these forming of oceanic currents. First cause, it is the differences in the density of the sea or the ocean water is mainly responsible for the oceanic current. Now why all this happens, and this variation in the density is caused due to the differences in the temperature and degree of the salinity in the water. Now we have discussed that where the temperature it is maximum, where temperature is maximum or too high, then the pressure is low, and where the temperature is very minimum, pressure is high. So here the variation in the temperature resulted forming the oceanic currents. Now oceanic currents are also caused by the prevailing winds, and how this happened? The wind blowing consistently in a particular direction. So why particular direction? So when the wind will blow from the equatorial region to the polar region, now so when the temperature here will be, or the pressure in the water bodies will be very maximum, so when this will move towards the polar region, there the pressure will be very less, and that is why so movement of the wind also resulted this forming of the oceanic current and its movement or its direction from equatorial region to the polar and the polar to equatorial region. Clear? Next, Third cause, it is the centrifugal force or the earth's own motion of rotation on its axis also cause oceanic current. When the earth moves or rotates on its own axis, so when this earth moves on its own axis, so it also generates force, and this force is also responsible for forming this or originating the oceanic currents. Now we will see the oceanic currents and their effects. Now these oceanic currents, these two have a very considerable influence on the weather and climate of the coastal region. So when this oceanic current originates, so it influences the climate of the coastal region or the areas in the coast. According to this current, so this oceanic current decides the vegetation cover, agriculture and the other thing in the specific region. Now, number one effect, it is that the warm current make the climate warmer. Warm current, we saw that this equatorial region, it is very warm. So from here, when it moves towards the pole, so this is the warm current. So it makes climate very warm, and the Kuroshio current in the Pacific Ocean and the Gulf Stream in the Atlantic Ocean mainly modify the climate of southern Japan and eastern part of the United States of America respectively. Next, it is that the warm current help in keeping the port of the colder region free from ice during the chilling. Why? Because when this arrive, when the same arrive, so it keep the chilling or the port free from ice. Example here, it is the Labrador coast remain free from getting frozen. Next, it is that the oceanic current also have an influence over the rainfall received by any country. How? Because the country is influenced by the warm current gets more rainfall, and this happens in the hot season. And the wind passing over the warm current absorb lot of the moisture from the water bodies, and as a result, after arriving in the coastal region or in the land area, so it results a rainfall in all those particular areas. Now, on the other hand, cold current, this is the warm and now the cold current. So the mixing of the warm and the cold current is a natural phenomena, and in one case it is also highly beneficial, where on the other case it is dangerous as well. Cold current and the flow of the same near the coast of Atacama Desert bring different situation. How? The wind passing over the cold current do not pick up the moisture. Why? Because originating from the polar region, so the current do not take the moisture, and as a result, so it is dry in nature, and because of this, so the wind do not cause rainfall. And that is why it is one of the main reasons that the hot deserts are located near the coast. The areas where the warm current meet the cold current becomes an ideal fishing ground. Why? Because this current produces huge amount of the planktons. And what are the planktons? So these are sea organisms which provide food for the fish and other sea creatures. And as a result, so it is because of this, so the situation becomes very ideal for fishing. Now, meeting of the warm and the cold current produce thick fog over the areas, and the visibility becomes nil, and thus become dangerous for the ship to sail. in such water. So meeting of this cold and the current, warm current produce fog, and it becomes very difficult, or it creates a very tough situation for the sailor to navigate their ship because of what? When visibility becomes nil. Now, when one cannot see anything, then how they can or he can sail the ship? There is one such area near the Newfoundland where the warm Gulf Stream meet the cold Labrador current. So when these two meet, so it produces the fog over the area, and as a result the visibility becomes nil. Ships often follow the current as it increases the speed when going in the same direction. Now from the equatorial region, when the warm current originates and blows from this area towards the pole, so if the ship started navigating from this particular area towards the polar area, so as a result what will happen? So it will enhance or increases the speed of the ship. Clear? Next, the warm current keep the sea or the ocean water free from the dangerous iceberg. Now warm current, warm in the nature, so in the water body, so if it keep the iceberg, okay, dangerous iceberg from melting down quickly, warm current make shipping safer. Next, a case study of tsunami. Tsunami, it is a Japanese word which means the harbor wave. In the past it is called as the tide wave. Before coining this word tsunami, earlier it was known as the tide waves, but later it revealed that it has nothing to do with the tides, because tides we come to know in this class that so it is the rise and fall of the oceanic water twice in a day. So now this rising and falling of this water in the sea or the oceanic, we can't call it is a tsunami. Now they cannot also be called as the seismic wave, because there are other causes as well which result in the tsunami. In fact, so what is tsunami? Tsunami is a wave train or the series of waves in the huge water body cause impulsive disturbance of the particle displacing the water column. And how all this happens? Because from the high pressure to low pressure, when the wind blows and creates very huge wave, and it resulted the tsunami. Now earthquake, landslide, the volcanic eruption, explosion, and even due to the cosmic bodies such as meteorites can be caused behind the tsunami. Now under the water also, sometime all this earthquake and the volcanic eruption, under the water also the volcanic eruption takes place, and other than this, the landslide and the explosion and even the cosmic bodies such as the meteorites also, when all this can also be the cause of tsunami. Now the effect of the tsunami, it caused the immense damage to the life and property in the region where it strikes or takes place. Apart from that, tsunami caused also the damage to the ecological balance of the region where particularly or in a very particular area where it strike or happens. Now occurrence of the tsunami, here one case study, it is that on 26 December 2004, a very huge tsunami struck India, Sri Lanka and many other countries of the Southeast Asia. So it was such a devastating in nature of that tsunami that it left nearly over 1 lakh people dead and thousands of them rendered homeless. The earthquake The earthquake was of 8.9 magnitude and had its epicenter at 237 kilometers southwest of Banda H of Sumatra. In India, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Puducherry were host hit area where the several thousand of the people died because of this tsunami. Now, when this earthquake took place, so tsunami also had taken place. Clear? So now earthquake, landslide, volcanic eruption, explosion, and sometime due to the cosmic bodies such as meteorites also can cause the tsunami. I said you that under the water bodies also this volcanic eruption also sometimes takes place, and as a result when all this happens, so the tsunami take place. Now this tsunami in the year 2004 when struck India, mainly the Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Puducherry, so thousands and the thousands people died. Now we can do nothing to stop this tsunami, but we can take some of the precautions or the precautive measures to keep ourselves safe or less damages, okay, during this or at the time of this such natural calamities. First one, it is relief. People should be aware about the relief feature of the area inhabited by them, and they should know the height of the street from the sea, and they should know the distance of their house from the street from the sea. Now how all this will happen? So people should know the height of their road and how far they have constructed their house from the water body. Or while constructing their houses in the coastal area, they should use all this scientific technique or the methods. And they should also know the height of the street from the sea level. Next, it is the enlisting of the location. We should make a list of the location or the places that did not get effect in the tsunami earlier. And accordingly, the people should settle in all those areas where the tsunami did not attack or did not affect earlier. Also, the people should have information about the places frequently visited and fall in the tsunami hazard areas or the areas which are safer. People should have all this information about the areas which are hazard prone areas. Next, it is the safe evacuation plan. If tsunami or any natural this calamities takes place, so the people must have a safe evacuation plan so that during the event of the tsunami, people could leave the unsafe location easily and quickly, to be safe from the fury of the sea water and the tsunami. So such evacuation plan should be there, and accordingly people should leave the unsafe location, and people should also keep themselves updated about all these natural calamities or about to happening of these natural calamities, whatever the information provides by the MDI, Meteorological Department of India. Now next one, it is the disaster management committee. Each locality must have a disaster management community consisting of the local people, and the people should be given the mock drill, and they should be trained how they can be very useful to provide fast and help to the affected population. And the committee should be there in the affected areas, and the people should be trained how to deal such natural calamities or the tsunami. Alternative means of communication should also be there, and during such big disaster, the communication link and the means of livelihood often get destroyed, and sometimes it happens in a way that the particularly or sometimes the whole communication system get destroyed, and as a result, they do not have any means of communication. So the people must have a reliable arrangement of the alternative means of the communication, and such as the amateur radio and the satellite based communication in a good condition well in advance. So before taking place of the tsunami or any other natural calamities, so before happening or before taking place, all this alternative communication, alternative means of the communication like the amateur radio and the other satellite communication, all this should be in a good condition and well set up before. And if all these are done, or communication system set up in the areas or the affected areas, so at a time or when the same take place or the tsunami takes place, so that at least the affected people, they can communicate, and accordingly so evacuation or the other necessary steps can be taken by the government to evacuate the people and to take out from the unsafe area to the safer areas. So this is all about the discussion of this chapter. You read well at your home, and the notes will be given to you. Enjoy this class, top to bottom you read well, and while doing so, if you face any problem, contact me every night. I shall help you. This is all about the day's discussion. Thanks to all.